So introverted men get screwed in relationships, not because they don't have value, but because they keep picking women who don't know what to do with that value. You're quiet, you're observant, you're loyal, and she mistakes that for weakness. Let's change that, because if you're an introverted guy, there are specific traits that you should always look for in the kind of woman you should settle with. Or you'll end up drained, disrespected, and wondering why love feels like a full-time job. Jessica OS here, welcome to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact qualities introverted men must look for in a partner to feel safe, seen, and sexually alive without pretending to be someone that they're not. We're talking respect, energy, compatibility, emotional intelligence, and more. Plus, red flags to watch for and how to recognize when a woman actually gets you. Let's dive in. Number 1, look for a woman who respects your silence. Let's get something straight. Your silence is not a flaw, but in the wrong relationship, it will be treated like one. A lot of women, especially high energy, high social types, confuse introversion with indifference. They start reading into your quietness like it's a problem. Why aren't you texting back? Are you mad at me? Why don't you talk anymore? And before you know it, your peaceful nature gets turned into a crime scene. You're constantly defending your need for space rather than being celebrated for your calm presence. Now flip that. The right woman won't just tolerate your quiet, she'll respect it. She'll get that you're someone who doesn't need to fill every silence with noise, that your pauses aren't avoidance, they're just processing, that your stillness isn't a lack of interest, it's your way of listening, right? Of being present. She won't push you to be more talkative just to make herself feel secure. She'll know that when you do speak, it's intentional, not performative. Imagine being with someone who doesn't take offense when you say, hey, I just need a little time to recharge. Right? Instead of guilt tripping you with something like, well, why are you avoiding me and stuff like that, she'll rather respond like this. Take your time. I know how much you give when you're ready. Now that's the woman who sees you, because here's the truth. A partner who can't respect your silence will never fully appreciate your depth. A woman who doesn't get your quiet will never earn your truth. So don't chase a woman who needs constant noise. Choose the one who understands that some of the most powerful moments happen in silence. Number 2, she should create calm, not chaos. Let's be real. If you're an introverted man, you already live with a full inner world. Your mind is always on. You think deeply, you analyze, reflect, you overprocess even the smallest things. And it's not a flaw, it's part of your superpower. But that also means the last thing you need is a partner who adds unnecessary emotional noise to your life. You know the type. Women who thrive on conflict. Drama is their default setting. 1 minute she's adoring, the next one she's accusing. Her mood swings are so intense that they feel like emotional whiplash. And here you are, the calm one, the logical one, slowly getting pulled into that emotional storm until your peace is completely gone and your mental space is cluttered with her chaos. Introverted men don't do well in emotionally unpredictable environments because chaos kills clarity, and clarity is where you operate the best. Now, contrast that with a woman who brings calm. Her energy soothes you, her presence relaxes your nervous system instead of triggering it. She's emotionally steady, not perfect, but grounded. She doesn't start fights just to feel seen. She communicates, she checks in, she respects your emotional rhythm. And when life gets hard, which it will, she doesn't become another problem that you have to solve. She becomes your anchor, right? Imagine this. You've had a long, draining day. You come home exhausted, and instead of attitude, chaos, or passive aggression, you're met with peace. A woman who knows how to hold space without pressuring you to explain every breath you take. That's a woman who's aligned with your nervous system, not at war with it. The truth is, a chaotic woman will make you feel like you're the problem because you're not reacting fast enough. A calm woman will remind you that you don't need to react at all. Just be. Number 3, you need a woman who listens to understand, not just to reply. Let's be honest, most introverted men aren't the loudest in the room. You don't speak just to fill the space, and when you do speak, it's absolutely intentional, right? You've thought about it, you've replayed it in your mind 3 times before the words actually leave your lips. So imagine finally opening up to a woman, sharing something meaningful, something personal, right? And mid-sentence, she just cuts you off. Or worse, she hears your story and immediately turns it into one about her. You feel unheard, unseen. like your words just got swallowed by a black hole of attention seeking. Now that's the moment you realize that she wasn't listening to understand you. She was just waiting for her turn to talk. Thing is, introverted men like you, need to be heard. Not loudly, but deeply. You don't crave attention, you crave connection. And connection is built when someone hears what you're saying and values it, even if it's just a few quiet words, you know? You need a woman who picks up on the subtext and not just the headline. Who notices the shift in your tone, who hears the emotion between your words, who doesn't rush to fill the silence but leans into it because she knows that silence is your language as well. She doesn't make you feel like you need to speak more to earn her trust or interest. She makes you feel safe enough to say less because she's actually paying attention to what you're saying and doing. That kind of woman won't just be your lover, she'll be your translator. She'll understand the things that you don't say out loud. And here's the truth. If she constantly interrupts, finishes your sentences, or invalidates your point of view, you will shut down. Now, not because you're weak, but because you've learned it's not safe to be open around her. So when you're choosing that woman, when you're choosing a partner, ask yourself this: does she make it easier for me to speak or harder? Because that answer tells you everything you need to know about your emotional future with this person. Number 4, she must protect your energy. So a lot of people don't understand this about introverted men. You don't just guard your time, you guard your energy. Because once it's gone, it takes a lot to get it back. You're not someone who thrives on constant stimulation, social chaos, emotional upheaval. You pick your battles, you manage your peace. And when someone consistently disrupts that, it drains you really fast. So let's talk about the energy vampires. These are women who come with never-ending problems, emotional outbursts, toxic patterns. They thrive on attention, not resolution. Every conversation is a storm. Every day is a new crisis. And you, the introvert, become the emotional sponge, soaking all of that up. You're walking on eggshells, monitoring her mood, trying to fix everything before it explodes. Suddenly, your calm becomes her emotional safety net, and you're left emotionally bankrupt. Let me be brutally honest, that's not love, that's emotional labor, and it's not your job to raise a grown woman. Now flip the script. A high-quality woman will protect your energy instead of draining it, because she doesn't come to you in pieces expecting you to glue her back together. She handles her own emotions. She regulates herself. She brings presence into the room and not chaos. And when she sees that you're overwhelmed or need space, she doesn't take it personally. She honors it. She supports your boundaries. She says, you don't have to carry me today. I'm good. Recharge. I got you. That's a woman who multiplies your peace. Let me say it clearly. If a woman sees your emotional bandwidth as an unlimited resource, she's not your partner. She's a drain. Right? But the one who protects your energy, she becomes your sanctuary, your safe space, right? And with her, you can finally exhale. Number 5, look for emotional maturity over physical beauty. Now, let's not pretend here. I know physical attraction matters. Every man wants a woman he finds sexy, desirable, magnetic, you name it. But here's the truth that hits hard once you've been through a few relationships. Beauty without emotional maturity is a ticking time bomb. She can be a 10 on the outside, but if she lacks self-awareness, can't handle conflict, and plays emotional games, she'll drain your spirit faster than she turned heads in the room. So here's where a lot of introverted men go wrong. You meet a gorgeous woman. She seems fun, exciting, charismatic, but you ignore the emotional red flags because you want it to work. You think, well, maybe I'm too sensitive, or she's just passionate. No, she's chaotic, actually. Right? And you're too deep for that kind of shallow emotional capacity. Now, because you process things internally, you need a partner who doesn't explode every time there's discomfort. You need someone who can sit in a disagreement without yelling, blaming, or storming out. Someone who can say, I was wrong, without being defensive. Someone who can love you deeply without needing to control you. Emotional maturity looks like responding, not reacting, communicating, not manipulating, being open to feedback without making everything personal, holding space for your silence instead of panicking over it. Now, beautiful women may turn heads, yes, but an emotionally mature woman, she holds your heart without breaking your spirit. And here's the best part. Emotional maturity is sexy. A woman who knows who she is, owns her triggers, and respects yours is the kind of woman who becomes more attractive to you over time. You'll crave her peace, you'll respect her strength, and your connection will feel solid and not unstable. So before you let her curves blind your judgment, ask yourself this: if we stripped away her looks, could I still build a future with her? Because once the novelty fades, what you're left with is her character. Number 6, you need someone who values depth over hype. So here's a trap most introverted men fall into. You meet a woman who's fun, outgoing, always in the spotlight, and you think, well, maybe this is what I need to pull me out of my shell. Opposites attract after all, right? But very quickly you realize something's off. You're having loud moments, but not real ones. There's constant motion, but zero depth. That's the kind of woman who values hype, surface level conversations, attention, social validation, and quick dopamine hits. But you crave depth, real talk, quiet moments, unspoken connection. For an introverted man, it's not enough that a woman looks good or is fun to be around. You need someone who gets turned on by meaning. Someone who enjoys talking about purpose, goals, fears, philosophy, or just sitting in silence while both of you recharge. Let me paint the contrast for you. A woman who values hype will constantly be on her phone, need to document every moment for social media, be bored with your inner world, call you too serious or too quiet or hard to read. But a woman who values depth, she'll ask you questions that make you think. Listen not just to your words, but to the space between them. Want to know how your mind works, not just what you do for a living, right? Feel closer to you after a 3-hour deep talk than a 3-day vacation. You'll know you found her when the conversations feel effortless, when time disappears and it's just you, her, and the truth. No filters, no noise, no performance. She's the kind of woman who won't need a party to feel alive because your connection is the party, She won't chase attention from everyone else because your attention is more than enough. Bottom line. If she thinks your introspection is boring, your quiet is awkward, or your depth is too much, then I'm sorry, she's not the one for you. But if she leans into it, if she dives in instead of skating over the surface, don't let her go. Now, let me know if this is resonating with you so far. If you're an introverted man who's tired of women misunderstanding your quiet nature, comment below, because you're not alone. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button. It helps the channel reach more men like you. And finally, number 7, she doesn't try to fix or change you. This is important. It's a silent deal breaker for a lot of introverted men, and most don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. You see, it starts with things like small comments. Why don't you talk more around my friends? You'll be so much attractive if you were a bit more outgoing. I just wish you'd open up like so-and-so's boyfriend. At first you brush it off. You want to be flexible. You want to be liked. So, it's not a big deal. But then it starts to chip away at something sacred, your self-acceptance. Because here's what she's really saying: you're not enough the way you are. And that right there, that's the kind of woman who fell in love with your potential and not your reality. And that's the fastest way to crush an introverted man's spirit. You see, introverts already spend so much time in their own heads, analyzing, adjusting, second guessing. And the last thing they need is a partner who adds pressure to perform on top of that. You don't need to be louder or more social or more anything. You need a woman who says, I love the way you move around the world, right? Quiet, intentional, present. That's powerful. The right woman doesn't see your silence as a problem to solve. She sees it as a strength, a mystery, a mark of control. She doesn't push you into uncomfortable social situations to prove a point. She lets you lead in your own way, even if it's quiet, calculated, and behind the scenes. And when conflict comes, she doesn't say you're too closed off. She says, take your time. I trust you'll talk when you're ready. That's a woman who's emotionally secure and emotionally safe. Let me say it clearly. You should never have to fight for the right to be yourself in a relationship. If you feel like you're constantly being edited, upgraded, reprogrammed to fit her idea of who you should be, walk away. Because the woman who truly deserves you, she doesn't want to change you necessarily. She just wants to understand you. And that's the difference between being tolerated and being treasured. Unless, of course, you have a bad behavior you know needs changing, then that's a totally different conversation. And that's not what I'm addressing here. Either way, introverted men don't need to be louder. They just need to choose better. The wrong partner will make you question your nature, while the right one will make your quiet feel like power. So the next time you see someone, meet someone, ask yourself, does she honor your peace or interrupt it? That's the real test. Guys, if this spoke to you, I want you to check out my next video on the channel. It will take that quiet power you have to the next level. My name is Jessica OS. Hope you found value from this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Me and my hands say goodbye.